lethal for a time, lady.
It's finally happened. We have answers, and if you haven't seen episode 6 of season 2, the Interstellar Song Contest, don't get spoilers. This video is going to be very spoiler heavy. It's a full review, full breakdown, because I don't even know where to begin. We finally know who Mrs. Flood is.
Is that it? Is that it?
Was that it?
Well, I'm bitterly disappointed.
And that cameo as well. Susan just showed up of no what? Carol Ann Ford on screen. And honestly, I don't know how I feel. Like, this is the most conflicted I've felt on a Doctor Who episode, I was going to say in a long time, but since the Empire of Death, which probably isn't necessarily a good thing, but I want to give the episode a fair shot, I want to give it a fair review. There is so much to unpack here, and I have only seen it the once, so I am going to need to revisit this episode. I mean, we'll discuss it more in our podcast coming up in a couple of days' time, but yeah, there was so much going on here, and as I say, we'll discuss that reveal later in the video, because I don't know where I stand on it. I don't know. I think
Absolute terror. That's what I said.
I need to collect my thoughts, but I don't know if I like it. We'll start at the beginning of the episode, where it was a breath of fresh air for those of you who've been watching my reviews. We didn't hear Belinda say the iconic line. She didn't go, "You need to get me home." Like, sure, we still got the recap, we still got the reminder that Belinda needs to get home, but they didn't use that one line that they've used over and over again, which was a nice change. I thought it was a really strong start to an episode as well. Like, there's no sort of pointless meandering about. They're like, Interstellar Song Contest, here we are, the Doctor's arrived, Belinda's arrived, and of course, if they step out the TARDIS with the Vindicator and see that, they're going to stay and watch the contest. I really liked Ryland's little introduction scene as well. I thought that was quite funny. And it was like a nice sci-fi way of explaining how on earth Ryland is still presenting after all these years. He's been cryogenically frozen. And as well, I think, obviously we'll unpack it more, but this episode did a really bizarre thing where 50% of the dialogue, 50% of the lines, I was like, oh my god, that's brilliant. That, like, best line ever. Like, I've written down so many quotes that really, like, I was like, oh, that's good, that's good. But then there was another, like, I'd say 25% were just like your average nice lines. But then there were 25% of the lines where I was like, what? Like, there were just a couple of moments where it felt a bit silly. And I don't want to be harsh either, because Juno Dawson is a fantastic writer, and I absolutely love the Doctor Who redacted stuff that she wrote, which, by the way, I mean, we'll jump into the end, but that definitely got a little shout out when Belinda talks about, like, oh, I'll be a missing nurse, and people will be discussing it on a podcast. Like, that was a fun little reference to Juno Dawson's other work, Doctor Who Redacted, which you should go and check out if you haven't. It's really well written. But yeah, Ryland's brought back from cryogenic sleep. He goes out onto the stage. I also, they said they did the give it more ore, and Ryland goes, ore, which I'm trying to remember. Someone can tell me in the comments. That is from a film, like from behind the scenes on a film. I swear there was, like, I think it's a film about, like, the crucifixion of Christ, right? And on set, the actor of a Roman soldier was told, do it with more ore, and they go, ore, you are the Son of God, or something along those lines, because they just misinterpret it. But I don't know whether that was an intentional reference to that. I don't even know what film that was. Someone in the comments will know. But yeah, I thought that was a really fun line. I love little jokey bits like that in Doctor Who. Really strong start. I also loved Mrs. Flood's inclusion at the start. Her inclusion at the end, we will discuss, but at the start, I thought it was a really cool way, and I love that it's sort of piecing together little bits. The Vindicator stuff from the well, we now know why she needs the Vindicator. Well, we don't know why she needs it, but we know she was using its power, tracking it so she can get to May 24th, presumably. That's why she's been along with the Doctor on all of these adventures. Initially, when they said Poppy Honey, I was wondering whether that was going to tie into Poppy the Space Baby, because obviously last week Poppy the Space Baby came back, so in my notes I've just written baby ? Polly ? Honey, which is definitely an autocorrect from Poppy Honey. But yeah, as I say, it was quite a strong start to the episode. I love as well that the way Juno Dawson writes the Doctor feels very fresh and modern. Like, once he says absolute scenes at one point, which is something you'd never expect the Doctor to say, but it sounds so natural coming out of the 15th Doctor's mouth, and it's such like a nice breath of fresh air. 15 really feels in his own. Like, Shooty in this episode is just fantastic. He's genuinely gone from strength to strength to strength. I wouldn't say it's his best performance ever, but it's a really solid one, and I really, really hope he stays on in the role for many more years, because he's just so good as the Doctor, and he feels different as well. He's such like a distinct incarnation, and a bunch of the lines, like absolute scenes or honey, you couldn't really give to any other Doctor. I will say though, like, there's the counterbalance. As good as those bits of dialogue were, Belinda's line, where she's like, we used to stay up and watch it every night, well not every night, but every time Eurovision was on, and my mum would give me a little snack, and it just felt a little bit too happy. Maybe I'm just a miserable person, but it was a bit like, it was a bit too sweet. I was like, and that's weird because Belinda has been like, well, as the series begun, Belinda was genuinely becoming like really, really solid companion, and she still is, but I feel like her characterisation has kind of stagnated a little bit from about week 4 onwards, which is a real shame, because when you've only got 8 episodes, I just feel like Varada Sethu is so good in the role. She could be given more to work with. There was some really nice stuff this episode with Belinda that we'll get onto, but even then, after this, I still don't, like, we've got the finale next week, and I still don't truly feel like I know who Belinda is. I thought it was quite a fun touch as well, because it was like, we're Doctor Who fans, we think about things too deeply. My first thought when the Doctor and Belinda were in that pod was, well, whose tickets have they stolen? Who's missing out on the Eurovision song, well, the Interstellar song contest, because... But then we actually cut to the two people, like the couple who couldn't get into that pod because the Doctor and Belinda were there. They were quite fun, quite nice, just generic sort of side characters. They kind of reminded me of like the couple from Voyager the Damned, not necessarily in the way they acted, but it's that type of character, do you know what I mean? Big space station, base under siege, drama story with this character on the side. They were alright. They weren't bad, they weren't good, they were just nice. Their presence was welcome. Then we get those weird robot android things, and I've got to say, this episode, I think you can tell Juno Dawson is a fan of the classic series, because this felt like a 7th Doctor episode. Like, the whole thing felt like a 7th Doctor episode. Even the Rani. I mean, is it the curse of the Rani to never make it into a like 10 out of 10 story? I really look. I will save it. I will save our Mrs. Flood talk. Chronological order. Let's stick to it. But yeah, as I was saying, it felt Sylvester McCoy with the android robot things. That was very classic Who, but they were quite a fun, neat design, nothing too special. And then, look, the actor, he's a good actor. And I can't remember her name, Kid was the main Hellion. The other Hellion was cool. She was nice, but Kid, I can't lie, really, really cringed me out at moments.
Someone's interfering with my systems.
Like, some of the lines...
I recommend you stop that right now, sweetheart.
From Kid. Like, not... And I don't want to slate the actor's performance or the writing of it. Like, I don't want to be too harsh, but I just don't quite get the character. Like, it felt so classic Who. And I love classic Who. I mean this in... I don't mean it in a nice way. I'm not going to lie. It did feel a bit cringe sometimes when Kid was going, yeah, I'm cool. I'm gonna destroy the space station. I'm gonna do bad things. And it's like, come on, don't do that. Like, he didn't really feel like much of a threat. And also, when he initially pulls the lever thing and everyone's floating off in space and dying, I was sat back and I was like, oh my god. That's dark. That's sick. Like, we're like, you wouldn't expect Doctor Who to just kill all of those people immediately. Like, that was insane. But then it becomes apparent they're not dead, and it's like, well, okay, well, if they're not dead, they're all going to survive. And I ultimately feel like, sure, it was kind of nice moral of the story. Everyone was happy. The day saved. But like, come on. This was advertised as like the biggest disaster movie. Oh my god, everything's gonna hit the fan. And like, everyone kind of was alright by the end. I just, like, I wanted more death. I wanted more destruction. I wanted the stakes to ramp up even more. It's what's so good about, like, Voyage of the Damned. Half of the people on the ship are just dead. Like, you go straight into it with, oh my god, they're all dead. They are gone. There is no getting them back. This episode, maybe I am just miserable. I think that's what I'm realising. It was too happy. It was too joyous. Like, the Hellion species name, that's so classic Who. In a good way, though. Like, evil, Hellion, and I suppose all of the name, the horns and everything contributes to the way society treats them, and I thought that was kind of an interesting angle. I did think, though, the sort of messaging of the episode was a little bit confused. Maybe that's a me thing, and as I say, I have only watched it once. I will need to rewatch this episode to fully take it in, but I thought there were numerous points where I thought they were going in different directions, and I didn't quite get exactly what they were going for with, like, Kid. Was it more, or was it just, like, the basic, their planet's been stripped for these poppies and whatever, which is, like, that is a nice idea. I don't know, there was something about it that it didn't fully click for me. Like, it kind of felt like I couldn't be fully immersed in the story the whole time. It felt like things were being, like, written to reach story beats rather than, like, the characters naturally doing stuff. Like, I don't know, because as well, that moment, I know we're jumping ahead a bit, but when the Doctor gets really, really mad and he's getting really angry, like, I know it's explained at the end that the 3 billion lives reminded him of his own planet, but it felt a little bit out of nowhere. Like, I felt there wasn't enough build-up, and I think that might be a pacing thing as well. The episode just sort of starts, and it's a really nice start, but then you don't get time to breathe. It's kind of like bam, 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 this is happening, this is happening, this is happening. And then we get our first singer and first song of the episode, which I really, really did like. It is the actress or singer who played Janice Goblin, the Goblin song of Goblin song fame. She was back to deliver a quick little song. And this is one of the other things, like, I wish there was more time with the songs and more songs, because we were sort of told in Doctor Who magazine, like, oh yeah, Murray Gold's written a bunch of new songs. They were there for like 5 seconds. And I think it's probably, like, the episode already overran by like 2 minutes. I think it was like a 47-minute long episode. Just make it a longer episode. I really think it deserved it as well, because maybe I wouldn't have some of these problems with the pacing or with the characterisation if there was always, like, there was more time. I'd be interested to see the original script before I imagine a bunch of cuts had to be made for timing, because it feels like a much bigger episode than it ended up being, which is why the end reveal feels pointlessly tacked on, but we will get to that. I really liked as well, talking about Ncuti's characterisation, he was written brilliantly in the part where he kind of clocks that something's wrong. So he jumps over the little pod and he starts buzzing with all the wires and stuff. Like, I really like that moment for him as the Doctor, and Belinda just sort of being like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, that was really nice, and obviously it sets up that he can save everybody. He shouldn't have been able to save everybody, he should have been able to save some people, but yeah, it was nice. I did think, though, as well, the pacing thing, the air shield was, like, destroyed too quick. Like, we didn't really get to know any of the characters or care for any of the characters. It was sort of like, we're here, bam, destroyed. And I think it happens within, like, the first 3 or 4 minutes. Maybe I'm wrong. It's got to be within the first 4 or 5 minutes. Like, it was so quick. And I remember when it happened, I was like, oh, well, we all knew that was going to happen, but not straight away. Which, it says 50-50 on that, because in a way, that's good. That's quite nice. It's like, oh, okay, we're jumping straight in, but also, give me time to breathe. Give me time to care about these characters. Like, I don't care when they all get jettisoned into space, because we don't know anyone. I did really love, though, like, it's so well shot, well CGI'd, well everything, when the Doctor gets, like, flung out. I like as well that Belinda was, like, saved by hitting the roof, then the pod's closing. That was a really nice touch. The Doctor being yeeted out into space was so good. Like, 10 out of 10 on that. Like, the effects, all of that, him flying around in space, twirling around, it looked brilliant. Yeah, Disney budget coming in clutch. seeing Rylan in space as well, it's just funny. It's just funny. He's good. I like Rylan. I do like as well that the TARDIS got sucked out into space, because, yeah, that gives us the jeopardy. You can't just hop in the TARDIS and fix it. And it was so good. It was genuinely like a 10 out of 10 peak moment when you see that real wide shot of the arena and like all the bodies just sort of floating up. Like, I wish they'd stuck to it. I wish that people hadn't made it out alive. Like, I sound like a crazed supervillain right now, but it would have been so much more dark and cool. And I know, like, bad things happening doesn't equal good, but I don't know. I just think the jeopardy, it felt there in that moment when everyone was being jettisoned up, when the Doctor was in space. It really did. It was like, oh my god, we're going in. But then it just kind of petered away. Like, the jeopardy, I felt, got a little bit less as the episode went on. Whereas it should be the opposite. It should build as the episode goes on. Note as well, they're also still all saying Mavity, which is, how long is Doctor Who going to do that for? It's funny, I like it, keep going. And then when Kid says, I've got a delta wave, all I could hear was Christopher Eccleston's northern voice going, Delta wave! Like, it was a nice little moment for the fans, a nice little nod, and that will be what RTD was talking about in those interviews when he said a piece of equipment or something comes back from season 1 that was unexpected. But yeah, I thought that was nice. Obviously, we know what a delta wave does as well. That builds tension nicely. But as I say, the tension was all built right at the start and slowly fizzled out rather than being built, climax, saved. Like, I kind of think, obviously it changes the episode a lot, but the jettisoning of everyone into space should have happened right near the end, and you could have had a really tense sequence with some music, with some big effects, where Belinda or the Doctor or whoever are rushing to save the people before they hit space, and maybe a couple of people start making it out into space, but they end up saving everyone. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I just think it's such a cool visual, it's such a cool moment, and it's really, like, well written. It's just, it comes too early in the episode. They almost blow their big trick right at the start. I did love, though, I think, was it Dugadoo song playing while Belinda just sobs? Like, that I really, really liked, because it's so, you've got the contrast of, like, this heartbreaking moment where, and I've got to say, this was peak of Varida's performance in this episode, when she thinks the Doctor's dead and she's crying. It's so good, like, so nicely directed, written, acted, everything. Like, those moments really, really popped off. But I loved the contrast of this completely and utterly alien song with that alien creature, Dugadoo, playing while Belinda just sobs in like a heartbreaking, naturalistic, real way. The contrast of the two really helps remind the audience, like, Belinda's out of her depth here. Like, she is on a planet she does not know, does not understand, and without the Doctor, like, this is the most alien thing in the world to her. And it makes us miss the Doctor as well. Like, I really felt for Belinda in that moment, and I thought it was very nicely done. I really liked her little breakdown bit as well, where she was like, without the Doctor, what do I do? And it was a really nice train of thought as well, because it speaks volumes about Belinda. The first thought is, oh my god, the Doctor's dead, look at all these people, they're dead, how can we save them? Then it's herself, like, she puts other people first, which she's done consistently throughout the series. It's, how can I help them? Then it's, oh my god, my parents, I'll never see them again, what's going to happen? I really like that moment where Cora comes and comforts Belinda, and she's like, Belinda, don't worry, like, we're going to be alright. And it was a really nice moment, and it felt very natural. And, like, the reminder, I think the line, it was one of those really good lines where I think Cora says, like, yeah, but you're still alive, focus on that. Belinda saying as well, I've written it down somewhere, he's so wonderful and I never got to tell him. I think it's nice characterisation, because she's quite, not stroppy, but she's quite, like, in a huff with the Doctor in most of the episodes, like, let's get home. As I say, she always goes, get me home. And yeah, for her to finally have really clicked with the Doctor and really grown to care for him, like, it's nice. And I'm really glad at the end of the episode she got to pay that off by actually just telling him, because you don't always get that. And I think it's nice that it takes the Doctor almost dying for Belinda to realise you need to say it while they're alive, because there's no point in gushing about them when they're dead. They'll never hear it. Say it to them while they're alive. Like, that was quite nice. Then we cut to the Doctor in space, okay? And I was like, oh, okay, how's he going to get out of this one? Is he going to... What? Susan appeared? I immediately picked up my phone and started recording. Hopefully I can put the clip in the video, because it's just funny. I literally, like, pulled up my phone and was like, Susan just showed up out of no... What? Carol Ann Ford was just on screen. Are you But yeah, hopefully that clip can go in. I don't know whether the copyrighted music's in the background because I do, like, 15's theme is playing, but hopefully you'll see a little bit of that clip. Susan, I mean, let's unpack that for a second. Susan's return is crazy. Like, we kind of, I've been saying it for ages, since The Devil's Chord, Susan has got to come back at some point, because you would not put this much emphasis on family, on Susan, on the Doctor. The Doctor saying to Ruby, you helped me talk about family in a way I never did before. You would not put all that emphasis in not to bring back Susan. But I love that it happened now. Nobody expected it. Like, where did that come from? She was in the TARDIS, but obviously it's like an apparition sort of thing, but it means she's got to be alive and out there somewhere. It means we've got to go back and see her. And I love as well, it's so unexpected. It caught me so off guard and made me so happy. Like, seeing Carol Ann Ford back, just thinking about it now, 10 out of 10. The episode's perfect. You know what? It doesn't matter about the reveal at the end. It doesn't matter about that, because Susan's back, and we love Susan. No, but seriously, I don't know what's going on there. I'm intrigued. I'm excited to see where that goes. I just hope that it doesn't get messed up, and I hope it honours the character nicely. That's what I shall say on Susan. We'll probably discuss more of Susan later, because she keeps cropping up in the episode whenever the Doctor's sort of like in jeopardy or whatever. She appears to him. It kind of reminded me of what Clara used to do. What I say used to do as if it's like a casual thing, but in like Heaven Sent, when Clara like appears in the Doctor's mind palace, it kind of gave that sort of vibe. But I think it was supposed to be more of a psychic projection, because the Doctor acknowledges it at the end of the episode. It's not just a construct of his imagination. He's like, yeah, but surely it can't be. Like, where's it going? So we're getting Susan back, and that's exciting. The Doctor saving himself with a confetti cannon, I did actually really like. I thought that was quite fun. It's once again a weird thing with the pacing though, because I feel like it's a really fun way for the Doctor to save himself, but he did it too late. Like, which, the episode moves really quick, but also, like, that is something the Doctor would grab onto while they're being ejected and fire himself forward. But then I suppose you need the Susan to wake him up from being frozen, but I don't know. It felt a little bit convenient as well, sort of like, why would the Doctor wake up? Like, I know Susan is there, but also, like, why did he actually wake up? Like, as an episode on its own, it doesn't fully make sense. Like, what makes him wake up? Because Mrs. Flood dies because of the ejection, but the Doctor can survive. Also, no, I keep wanting to talk about the Mrs. Flood reveal. But yeah, I thought that was funny as well. And I liked the line. This is one of the best moments of Ncuti's Doctor ever, where he sits up and he's like, did I just save myself with a confetti cannon? Camp. And then he gets up and he's like, oh, who are you? And he's talking to the couple, and he's just so doctory. Every line was written brilliantly in that segment for the Doctor. Like, he screamed Doctor. Every line was performed brilliantly. The dynamic with that couple, really good, really strong. Loved that moment. I did think, though, that once again, like, for every really good line, there's a really, like, Cora, what line does she say? Let me try and find it. She says something, yeah, she goes like, people say that a lot when they're talking about the Hellions. And the second she said that, I was like, okay, she's a Hellion, isn't she? Like, look at the hair as well. It was clearly disguising horns, but obviously the horns were cut off. But, like, it didn't need to be that obvious. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like even if I was a kid, I'd have gone, oh, so she's one of them. And then they play it as a really dramatic reveal later on. And it's kind of like, well, duh, she said it earlier. Like, she goes, and she literally just goes like, yeah, people always say that about people they don't understand. It's sort of like, come on, like, it was quite on the nose. And then Graham Norton shows up. Why not? Why not? I thought, it's a shame he wasn't on set. Like, he was just a hologram sort of thing. It would have been nice to actually see Graham Norton, but yeah. I mean, look, Graham, you can no longer rinse Doctor Who fans, or Doctor Who as a concept. Every time the Graham Norton show happens, he takes the mick out of Doctor Who fans. You're in it now, mate. There's no escape. I think this episode somewhat reminds me of the Bad Wolf episode from Series 1, like Eccleston's era, where it feels very current, very modern. Like, when they did all the game shows with Big Brother and The Weakest Link and whatever, like, having Graham Norton, having basically Eurovision, having Rylan, like, it'll be funny to see how it ages. It'll also be funny to see how Americans perceive this, because they're not going to have a clue who Graham Norton or Rylan are. Let me know in the comments if you're from outside the UK and you know either Graham Norton or Rylan, because I think it's going to be a very small amount of people, but you don't need to know them for the story to work, to be fair. Like, there is a weird thing with Russell bringing in guest cast in this era, like Davina McCall last series, where it was like, oh my god, we love Davina, and now it's, oh my god, we love Graham Norton, oh my god, we love Rylan. Like, it's funny. I don't mind it. I think it's quite fun, and it gets Doctor Who in the headlines, so I see why it happens. I swear that's what John Nathan Turner used to do in the classic series, but I think this is doing it to a better degree. And my notes just go, more Susan in his head, because there was more Susan again. And I like that she, yeah, I don't know. I'll probably do a theory video unpacking it or something, because as I say, I need to rewatch, but I like that Susan keeps cropping up. I think this is the line from Kid that I've written down that I really just, it made me sigh. He says, I think, someone's interfering with my systems. I recommend you stop that right now, sweetheart. When that line happened, I felt compelled to write it down because it made me cringe. I don't want to be too harsh, because as I say, there's so many really good moments, really good lines, really strong visuals, really strong scenes, but it's just let down by a couple of bits that are just a bit too silly in my opinion. Like, especially for an episode that's like pre-finale and it's been teased as this big reveal thing, like it just felt a little bit silly sometimes. I did love, however, like it's always contrasted, you always get a bad line then a really good line. The Last of the Time Lords, that's a good name for a band. That was really fun. It immediately reminded me of The World's End, where the whole time Gary King and that lot are like, that's a good name for a band. And I know it's not from The World's End, it's just a thing people say, but it was good, it was funny. Then we got a weird moment. I mean, I discussed it earlier, but the Doctor got so angry, which has got to be leading somewhere in the finale, right? Like, what does he say? He says that I'm going to stand here and watch you freeze. It's like super villain evil. But I thought, like, it was really nice, and I really liked the writing of it, and I liked Ncuti's performance, but it felt a little bit no build-up, like it just sort of snap happens. And I know the Doctor explains at the end, yeah, like, it reminded him of Gallifrey and the destruction of his people, but I just, it came out of nowhere. Like, Ncuti just goes really like, the Doctor, I'm going to save the day, and I hate you, you will freeze to death. Like, he's faced far worse threats. Would he get that angry? I suppose it was, like, the Gallifrey thing justifies it more, but when I first watched it, in that initial moment, it did make me think, like, whoa, that's out of nowhere, which I suppose is kind of the point. It did make me think, though, Mrs. Flood was going to be the Valyard. Like, I think that theory about Mrs. Flood being the Valyard that I made the other week, it really, like, I was like, oh, okay, so they're showing the darker side to the Doctor's nature, this is going to tie into, but no. I really like the line, though, from Belinda where she says, like, is it Belinda? Someone says, like, kid, as in baby goat. Like, that, I think it is Belinda. It was good, it was funny. And then, to be followed up, this is what I like, dark Doctor Who, with the line, kid, as in his mother was shot before she could name him. That banger of a line. Absolute banger. And I liked that, like, look, it was a fun reveal in a way that she was a Hellion, but at the same time, as I say, it was obvious earlier. Like, you can't play it up that dramatically if it's that obvious. Maybe I just clocked on, and maybe I'm just really smart. I've complained about that enough, but it was a nice moment. I did like Belinda and her name escapes me, but the other Hellion, the Hellion that we didn't know was a Hellion that's performing at the contest, Carla or something. It's not Carla, something along those lines. That was a really nice dynamic running throughout the episode. I also thought there was some interesting, like, potential metaphors here, and obviously I haven't seen Doctor Who Unleashed yet, but I thought, like, yeah, from Juno Dawson writing as a trans woman, like, how did that influence her writing of the characters, and the prejudice they may face, and the way, like, they're sort of shunned, and making a political point at the Eurovision Song Contest. Like, yeah, it was interesting. But I don't know exactly what we were supposed to fully take away from it. I mean, I guess it's that mining the planet for the poppies is bad, but, like, that feels a little bit like, well, duh. Maybe was there more under the surface? Or I did love, however, the shots later on where you see like the planet burning and then the poppies and stuff. That was shot really nicely, really well directed. Then we get the Doctor confronting Kid in the flesh, or at least we think it is. He pulls a Last Jedi and he's actually a hologram when Kid tries to shoot him. Shooty was great in that. Kid was actually really good in that as well, to be fair. I think the actor's name's Freddie Fox. He did a good job. I think it wasn't like anyone was doing a bad job. I just think the character was a little bit silly. But I suppose that's the vibe of it, that's the tone of it. If that's your jam, that's your jam. But I did really like Kid and the Doctor in that moment when they had the little confrontation. Shooty, yeah, Doctor vibes. And it felt more justified here, but the Doctor sort of zapping him, and then zapping him, and zapping him, and zapping him, and Susan appearing saying, no, don't do it, and the Doctor's like rage really coming out. I thought that was a really nice moment, and it's always nice to see the Doctor go down like a darker path sometimes. And I think it was played off a little bit too happily. Belinda should have been more struck by that. Maybe she will be in the finale, but I loved the moment when the doors open, Belinda sees him, and the Doctor looks at Belinda and he's like, oh God, I shouldn't be doing this. And he like takes the glove off and throws it to the side. And then they need to save the day, and I thought it was a little bit convenient, like what all the survivors happen to be able to play their exact part. Like, oh, that's the hologram guy, that's the button guy, that's the like, it was, I don't know. In a way, it's nice that they all play their own little part and all help out in saving the day. But in another way, what are the odds that you'd be left with the exact couple of people that can do something to save the day? Like, I don't know. Also, I feel like Belinda didn't get much to do again. Like, last week she didn't get much, the week before she didn't get anything. Like, come on, Belinda's only here for such a short time, give her more to do. The Doctor says Hadiyama as well, which is kind of his catchphrase, I like it. And then Rylan is revived, and I really like the line where it's like, oh, I was frozen, or I died, or whatever, and then it's like, oh, just like my career. Like, that was funny, that was good. And this, one of the best moments in the episode, making your mind up, playing while they're saving all the aliens, that was really, oh, what a song to pick. They need more actual licensed music in Doctor Who, especially of that era. Like, Making Your Mind Up, it's on my playlist, I love it, it's a great song, and it fit that moment so well. So yeah, then all the people are saved, you get them in the pods, you get them in the wherever, and you get that nice little moment between Belinda and Rylan where she's like, oh my God, you're Rylan. Then, what's her name? Cora. Cora has her song moment, which, yeah, it was nice. It was alright. I was very sort of indifferent on it. Like, I don't know. I just felt like it was a little bit, like, it was a really nice beat, a really nice moment, written really well, but I think the pacing of the episode messed it around and it didn't give it enough time to properly breathe. I did love, though, that everyone started, like, slowly clapping, then everyone clapping, and as I mentioned as well, the shots of the poppies burning while everything's on fire, like, that was a really nice sequence, and I feel like it would have been a really, really lovely footnote if the episode had been paced a little bit better. And then the episode's basically concluded. Belinda and the Doctor walking back, they're all like, there's a really nice line where she's like, I was scared of you, and he says he was scared of himself, the 3 trillion people triggered him. That's the part that does justify it more, to be honest. I really like that, yeah, the 3 trillion lives in danger reminds him of Gallifrey, and they are like, okay, we'll talk about Mrs. Flood in a second. I mentioned at the start as well, but you get a little shout out to Doctor Who Redacted when Belinda talks about a podcast. Then May 24th, Graham Norton tells them May 24th was when Earth was destroyed, these things were salvaged, which doesn't really make sense. What, you salvaged a cryogenically frozen Rylan Clark from Earth's destruction? Is that the first thing that aliens would save? Why not? Shout out to Rylan. We love Rylan. Then the Doctor and Belinda are like, oh, we're going to save Earth. We're going to go. I'm going to get you to May 24th. Get in the TARDIS. Pull the lever. And the doors actually blew off. I don't think that's ever happened before. Like, we've had explosions and stuff, but the TARDIS doors literally imploded when they arrived in May 24th. So whatever is happening there, I'm incredibly intrigued. I am very excited for next week. I am nervous, though. It's that clip of that guy from The Apprentice going like, oh, I don't get nervous, but I am getting a bit shaky. Come on, do not let us down. I think this has been the weakest episode of this current season, but it's got really difficult competition because this season has been banger after banger after banger. Even this episode, I wouldn't say it's a bad episode. I'd say it's a very 50-50 mixed episode, and I'm not going to be able to make up my mind on it until I've making your mind up. Not going to make my mind up on it until I've had a rewatch. But yeah, that was a nice little cliffhanger. And then the credits roll, and let's just pretend it ended there. Oh, that was a really nice episode. Ended there. I'll see you next week in another review. What on earth are you doing putting the Mrs. Flood reveal as a post-credits scene? Not even in front of the Doctor as well. I'm sorry. Like, come on. I'm starting to think about it now, and it's come on. We've waited 3 years, and you're just like, you want to know who Mrs. Flood is? Oh, okay, sure. Like, it was the equivalent of, like, I don't know, your mate in the pub going like, oh, have you watched Doctor Who? No. Oh, do you want to know who Mrs. Flood is? Sure. And then just telling them. Like, there was no build-up, there was no climax, there was no Sutek. It just sort of happened. And, like, I was just like, oh, well, okay, well, is that it? Oh, okay, done. Where was the build-up? How do you put it as a post-credit scene? That's probably the most important question Doctor Who has asked in years. And they just like, oh, we'll leave it as a post-credit scene. It felt like a footnote in the episode. Like, I'd have much rather you waited, left the Interstellar Song Contest as its own episode, waited till next week, and then did the Mrs. Flood reveal. Like, it just happened. Like, I don't know. And the scene as well, it was so quick. And also, it was like a silly, funny tone, which, I don't know, it's not intrinsically bad, and I wonder how it will go down with like a general audience. Cause in a way, it's nice that they're subverting the tropes, I think, because as a Doctor Who fan, I was literally expecting a big, like, the reveal of Sutek last season was so good. Like, so impactful. Like, the lines from Harriet Arminger with, like, there is the toy maker, the god of games, there is the trickster, the god of tricks, and all these other cool, evil people. Like, that, so good. And when Sutek finally came back, like, you can see the reaction on my channel. I was with a group of people, we were screaming. It was like, it was the equivalent of Doctor Who fans watching a football match. Like, the clip went so far, like, Russell T Davies even liked our reaction to Sutek. And I just, how would you get a reveal reaction like that with Sutek? But then Mrs. Flood is left as almost a footnote with just like okay, we've got the finale next week, we might as well tell you who she is now. And I suppose next week we'll get the Doctor's reaction to her, but, like, it just sort of happened. Like, I know it sounds stupid, but I don't know. It's been and gone. That's it. It's literally that clip from Gavin and Stacey where they're really excited for Mick to be on the news, and then Mick's on the news for, like, 2 seconds, and Pam's just like, is that it? Is that it? And I know it's not it, because next week we're going to see the Rani and the Rani and a Rani in action. But also, I didn't like that Anita Dobson is an absolute queen, absolute legend. She should have been just, do you need 2 of them? Like, I don't get why that happened. Why did she buy Generate as well? Also, there was no ceremony to it. It just sort of like, oh, I need to regenerate, pop. Was that always the plan? Why was Mrs. Flood not the Rani, but Mrs. Flood is the Rani? There's 2 Mrs. Floods. Why is the Anita Dobson Rani any less important than the other Rani? And also, I'm just going to make a prediction, because the second it happened, I was like, okay, I know where this is going. Mrs. Flood, as in Anita Dobson's Rani, is going to fight against... I'm pretty sure she is the actress from Life on Mars. I could be wrong. But, yeah, Mrs. Flood will probably turn and save the day at the end, because she seems good. But I don't get it, because Mrs. Flood has been so threatening in a bunch of other episodes, like that. His story will end in absolute terror. Like, it puts you on the edge of your seat. You're like, oh, that's creepy. But she's now just sort of like a blundering sidekick. Why? Give Anita Dobson the main juicy material. Like, I'm sure the other actress is going to be brilliant, but, like, give that, like, why? And I think part of the frustration comes from the fact that I just want answers now, which is childish. I shall admit. Like, I just want more Doctor Who now. And I suppose in a way that's a really good sign that the episode got you talking, got you thinking. I need to see episode 7 and 8 to make my mind up, making your mind up. I need to see more. Because I currently, there's got to be a reason, but I currently don't get why there's 2 Ranis. So Unholy Trinity is Rani Conrad, maybe? Why? Look, I don't want to complain, I just don't get it. And I just think it's such a shame, especially, like, it's the Eurovision Song Contest episode. I was expecting Mrs. Flood to do a reveal live on stage, in front of the Doctor, in front of Belinda. I feel like it's a missed opportunity. I know it's a kind of, if my grandmother had wheels, she'd have been a bike situation. Like, that's not what happened. It's got nothing to do with it. It would change the episode completely. But I'd have preferred that because it's just tacked on. The Mrs. Flood thing should have been integrated into the episode so much more. You get the Interstellar Song Contest, and you effectively get a Marvel post-credit scene. We don't need a post-credit scene. If it was the end of the season, it would make sense to do it as a post-credit scene. But people might have turned off. The credits starts playing before it. How can you leave a moment that important? Like, I'm sort of going around in circles here. The reveal left me feeling a little bit underwhelmed, I can't lie. Like, and this series has been banger after banger after banger. I have loved every episode. This is the only time I've left an episode and felt a little bit underwhelmed. And it's not even that underwhelmed, I can't lie. Because in a way, I'm kind of hyped. The Rani's back. Like, the Rani's cool. We haven't seen the Rani in a while. But then, it's what I was saying on yesterday's live stream of, like, you need to justify why. Why is the Rani back? And then we've got to wait till next week. Like, I can't make any judgments on that yet. But I don't know. I did love, though. It was a really... See, this is the problem. As much as I complain, there were really good lines and really good moments. I absolutely loved the dynamic when the Rani is walking away and a Rani goes... No, the Rani says, like, I'm going to bring absolute terror, which in and of itself is a bit of a cringe line, but it was fully justified by Anita Dobson's, I told you that's what we'd do. Like, that was funny. It was nice. And I don't want to be too negative. I don't. I just... I mean, the reveal's out the way now. The cat's out the bag. We know what's going on. It is annoying, though, as well, like, that was leaked. Like, I've managed to avoid it-ish on the channel. I've heard loads of leaks, but it's a shame that it wasn't a complete surprise. Like, I don't know. Let me know what you thought in the comments. I need to make my mind up. I'm going to stop doing that. But I don't know. I really don't know. I'm going to give the episode a... I don't know. Can I give 50% of the episode a 10 out of 10 and 50% of the episode a not 10 out of 10? Because those are my thoughts. I don't know. 6 out of 10. That's really harsh. That feels mean. 6.75 out of 10. There were really good moments, really good performances. The reveals left me a little bit baffled, but we'll just have to wait and see. I can't include... I think it might go up to a 7 if we take away the reveal. I don't know. I really don't know. You're going to need to tune in. It's a cliffhanger. Wait till next week. I'm going to bi-generate and I'll tell you my opinions on the podcast. Not next week. It'll be a couple of days. We're filming the podcast tomorrow. There'll be more content, as ever. Subscribe, like, comment, share. Really helps me out a lot. I appreciate you all. This video's gone on for way too long because there was so much to discuss with this episode, but I hope you did enjoy. Thank you for watching, and goodbye!
Don't forget to click below and subscribe to the official Confused Adipose YouTube channel.
I will destroy you!
She's not seen a single episode.
No, I've watched your episodes.
Keep these sonic screwdrivers.
What else am I saying about the film? Don't watch this one.